Greetings, fellow makers. Welcome down to my office today. This is Bill, prop maker, costume maker, and 3D modeler. That's right. Today, I'm going to show you guys a little bit about 3D modeling stuff for 3D printing. This is something little for, let's say, for a prop. And I'm going to do a little bit of modeling in 123D Design, show you some basic techniques there. We'll drop it into Cura, which is the software that the Ultimaker behind me here, the glowing white orb of an Ultimaker. We'll use Cura, we'll set it up for the print, we'll print it, I'll show it off, and then it'll be really cool, and we're all going to learn a little bit. So, I'm going to fire up 123D Design and get started, because why wait? Alright, let's do this. This is 123D Design. This is a very entry-level and free CAD software from Autodesk. You have no reason not to go buy it or download it. It's great. It's a great way to get started. It's very not intimidating, and I'm going to use it today to model something that we will then go and print. The thing I'm modeling today is just going to be a basic greeble. It's not from anything, but it's going to design, or it's going to showcase a couple of very basic techniques. I'm going to make a little circular greeble. This is just something I'm making up out of my head. And I'll start by using a primitive here. I'm going to make a cylinder. I'm going to make a cylinder. It's going to go right there, but down in the bottom, I'm going to type the radius. And this is in millimeters right now. So I'm going to go with, let's say 50 millimeters, which is, and I've got a ruler right here, so I can be like, that's how big 50 millimeters is. That's kind of big. I'm going to say maybe 40. And then the height is 20, so 2 centimeters high right there. I'm going to make it a little bit, maybe 15. So this is a little disc. And then wherever I put it, like on the origin and click, that's where it goes. I want to do a little bit of an indent in the middle of this greeble piece here. And if you mouse over the center of your part, it will snap to the center of that, which is great. And again, I want to change the radius, so let's say 30. And then the height doesn't matter for this, and I'll show you why. If I hit enter, it'll also create my thing. And I've got two different pieces here. Now this part right here, I want to move down. I'm going to click on the move command, click on the piece, move it down and intersect the piece below by, let's say, 5 millimeters there. And then hit enter. So those two pieces are now occupying the same space. So now with these two pieces intersecting, I can use one to cut out the other one. And in this software, it's known as, under combine, there's a subtract. Click on subtract. The target mesh is the one I want to keep, which is this guy. And then the source solid is this guy. And I click on that, and then I hit enter, and it chops a hole out of it, which is awesome. That's exactly what I wanted to happen. So at this point, there's a lot of modification you can do to something like this. So one simple one that you can do is to add a chamfer. So under modify, there's fillet and chamfer, and I'll show you the difference between those. Click on chamfer, and then select an edge that you want to chamfer. Now with 123D Design, you really only get like a 45-degree chamfer. So if I drag this in, it makes a nice 45-degree chamfer. Excuse me. And you drag it down. You could type how far you want that to be. I think that's pretty good. And then I hit enter. And there you go. A nice Apple iPhone style chamfer on the edge of your part. Now in the inside ring, I want to do a fillet. So again, I go to modify, go to fillet, and I click on that edge. And as I drag that in, it makes a rounded off part, just like that. I'm going to do like that. And again, I hit enter. So already you've got a fairly sophisticated little piece that literally took us like 2 minutes to make. So you can see how, like, if you're making an arc reactor for your Iron Man and you need to like print out the ring for it, this is something similar that you can knock out really fast. The center here, though, there's not really a whole lot going on. So we're going to add something. Let's do a sketch. This will be cool, like some sort of emblem. So under primitives, you make 3-dimensional primitives, but under sketch, you have options to, this is basically a drawing that you would then project in some way or modify or change into a 3D object. So I'm going to do a polyline. Click on sketch, click on polyline. And I clicked on polyline, and then it wants to know where the sketch is going to be So I can click on any of these surfaces that I have. So I'm going to click on this the center circle right there. And now I can draw a line or a shape or whatever I want on this surface. And I'm going to click on my viewport and just go to the top. And now polyline is just a sort of a generic vector line like you would do in like Inkscape. So if I just click around my face here, I can make a really weird looking faceted Pac-Man or something like so. Once it's filled in like that, then your sketch is ready to go. And then click exit mode, and then you have a shape, a sketch. And you can go back into that sketch too, and move pieces of it just by clicking on it. You can go to your sketch options here and do, let's say, a fillet. Again, it wants you to know what to edit, so I click on edit sketch, and I can click over here, whoops, and add a fillet. Click on there, can round that side off, boop. So here is our basic sketch, and if I go to construct, we can do an extrusion. So I click on extrude, click on that face, and then if I grab this arrow, it'll pull a three-dimensional shape out. Because I drew that sketch on this face, then once I hit enter, it will be combined. So that extruded piece there is combined with the form that we have below. The sketch is still there, and I can hit this eyeball, and I can hide sketches if I want. So that goes away. I don't need that sketch anymore. One more thing I can do, this will be really fun, is like I did the fillets before, or chamfers. Let's do a chamfer. And I'm going to select multiple edges, and these are the edges where this new piece connects to our part. And if I zoom in, you'll see that it makes a chamfer in the opposite direction, which is cool. Burp. I can go all the way out like that if I want. Whoa. That might be too much. Let's go back. There we go. Chamfer that. And then let's do a fillet that rounds off the top edge, like so. Like that. And then let's round that off a tiny bit. There we go. A very pleasing piece. Alright, one more thing I want to do before we send this little bit off to the printer is make some features that go around this cylinder part. One more quick technique I want to show you before I get this printing is patterning. So I'm going to make a little cylinder, and these will get patterned around the rim here. Let's make it 1.5, and let's make this, say, 5 or 2. These are going to be like little rivet heads or something. And I'm just going to place it on this surface here. Just right there. Now there's one of them, but I want many of them. So I'm going to grab the pattern tool for a circular pattern, and I need to click the solid. That make sure that you click on it, and there we go. The green line needs to encompass the entire part. This means I've clicked on the solid, not just the faces. Then I click on axis, and then I click on this as my path, and it worked. You can see it's made 3 of them equidistant around the whole part, and I can click on how many I want. So let's just make, I don't know, 6 of them. That sounds wonderful. And I hit enter, and it's done. The last thing I want to do before I send this off to the printer is combine some of these. So like before I did a subtraction, now I'm going to do a merge and make them all one part. Boop. Click on that. The target mesh is my main body. And then the other parts are all of these guys. I just click on them one at a time until they are all selected. And then I push enter. And now this is all one part. It's one solid part, which is really helpful for your slicing software. Last thing I want to do, this face down here is, or the whole thing's a little thick. In the spirit of making this print quicker, I'm going to make it thinner. And I'm going to use the modify command for press pull. Click on that face, and I can push this up, making it thinner. That's a little far. And there we go. So now we have this one little piece here, this flat greeble piece that I made. It's gorgeous. And I need to send it off to my slicing software. So I'm going to export an STL. Make sure that my object is selected first. Then I go export as 3D STL. Fine. I hit OK. And then it just wants to poop out a file. I'll throw it on my desktop. We're going to say Greeble is the name. And now we're ready to go over to Cura to do the slicing and get it ready for printing. We're going to be using the Ultimaker to print this, and this is their slicer. It's called Cura. You can use it for other things or printers other than an Ultimaker. So I'm going to open that file that we made. That's our Greeble, and it drops it right in. Hey, there's our little thing. That's pretty cool. And then all I have to do is add some settings. You can just go simple and hit light or hit your quality. Let's say fast print. And then it will slice it and it'll tell us how long it's going to take. And it's slicing and it's slicing and it's slicing and it is boop, 2 hours. Okay, we don't have that kind of time, so let's mess with some settings. I'm going to go with the advanced settings, and I'm going to say the infill is 18%. Let's make that 10%. I'm also going to change the scale of this object. I'll just make it a little bit smaller just so it prints faster. So I click on the object and scale. So there's a scale button in the upper left, and right now it's 80 millimeters, which is weird because I thought it was 40, but I can just change that to 40 and make it much smaller. So it's shrunk down. And as you make changes, the estimated time changes. So now it's down to 24 minutes. That's a lot more reasonable. And I'm not going to change the settings too much. Let's see here. The speed. I don't need support material for this. It does have a brim. 8 millimeters seems a bit much. Let's change that to 4. And then I'm going to leave it just on the fast print setting, and because we're live streaming this. But yeah, that's ready to go. I can click on the little view mode and go to layers, and it will tell us, boop, this is kind of what the print looks like. We can zip through the layers and see how it's going to actually print. Boop, 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 boop. And there we go. That looks pretty good to me. I'm going to grab the memory card from the printer, put the memory card in the computer, and then save to removable drive. I've got a little Ultimaker memory card, and I just click save to removable drive. It says it's going to take 23 minutes. It's going to take 0.38 meters of material. I think that's perfectly reasonable. All right. Once it's done ejecting that card, I can dump it in the machine. I'll hit print on that. You guys can watch that. There is our 3D print. This is a super fast little project showcasing just a handful of 3D modeling techniques with 123D design, and it turned out okay. This is with a transparent PLA on the Ultimaker, and it turned out okay. So there you go. There's just a really quick primer on 3D modeling using 123D design for 3D printing. You can take those basic techniques and model a whole bunch of different stuff. Boop. Anyway, thank you guys so much for hanging out with us on our live stream today. If you're not already following us, head on over to twitch.tv/punishedprops. Give us a follow over there. We do these every single week from our shop, or in this case, from the office, showing you guys how we build our props and costumes. Guess we'll see you all next week, where we'll probably be back in the shop doing more prop and costume making stuff. Join us then.